day everyone and welcome to our Zoom conference meeting. Let's wait for the other staffs. Hi everyone. Hi. For those joining us for the first time, I'm Mr. Anton, your sales staff here at the Corus Investment Company. Today's agenda covers our expenses for the past years. So please feel free to ask questions or comments as we go on. First of all, look at our depreciation expenses. It's a significant chunk of our operating cost.
True, but it makes sense. Our buildings and equipment wear down over time, so we need to account for that loss in value.
Right, but I don't fully understand how depreciation works. What about depletion? Is that the same thing?
Well, not quite. Depreciation applies to tangible assets like buildings and machinery, while depletion refers to natural resources like oil reserves or timberlands. As we extract those resources, their value depletes.
Okay, let me explain this to all of you. Imagine a company buy a new office building. It won't be a brand new forever, right? Over a time, it will wear down and be a worthless. Depreciation helps us spread the loss in the value over a building's estimated useful life.
Wait a minute, my supervisor have prepared a clear presentation about depreciation and depletion. In this presentation, we will discuss depreciation and depletion, the two important accounting concepts that businesses use to track the value of their assets over time. Depreciation is the allocation of the cost of a tangible asset such as building or equipment over its estimated useful life. Depletion is the allocation of the cost of a natural resource such as oil or timber over the period of is expected to be extracted or harvested.
So, depreciation is the accounting method used to spread the cost of a fixed asset over its estimated useful life. It is a non-cash expense, which means that it does not involve any outflow of cash. However, it is still an important expense to consider, as it affects the company's profitability and taxable income.
The most common method of depreciation is straight-line depreciation, which allocates the cost of an asset evenly over its useful life. Accelerated depreciation methods such as double declining balance depreciation allocate more of the cost of an asset to the early years of its life. On the other hand, units of production depreciation allocates the cost of an asset based on the number of units it produces.
Now, depletion. Depletion is the accounting method used to allocate the cost of a natural resource over the period it is expected to be extracted or harvested. So depletion is similar to depreciation in that it is a non-cash expense that reduces the book value of an asset over time. However, depletion is only used for natural resources such as oil, timber, and minerals. Now, moving on, there are two main methods for calculating depletion: cost depletion and percentage depletion. Let me explain it to you. Cost depletion is the most common method of depletion. It allocates the cost of a natural resource evenly over the estimated number of units of the resource that can be extracted or harvested. While percentage depletion is a method also used in depreciation that allows companies to deduct a fixed percentage of the gross income from the natural resource properly each year.
Depreciation and depletion can have a significant impact on companies' financial statements. They can affect the company's profitability, taxable income, and debt-to-equity ratio. As a result, it is important for companies to understand how to calculate depreciation and depletion, and to choose the appropriate methods for their assets.
I hope this presentation has provided you with a better understanding of depreciation and depletion. If you have any questions, please feel free to ask.
So depreciation helps us match the expense or an asset to the benefit we get from it over time.
Exactly. And depletion works similarly to natural resources. As we use them up, we record the depletion expense to reflect the decreasing value of the resource. No problem. Depreciation and depletion can be complex topics, but understanding them is important for financial analysis and reporting.
I think I'm starting to get it. Thanks for explaining, Jean.
Straight line method. So what is straight line method? Under the straight line depreciation method, the amount of reduction remains the same throughout all the accounting years. It is also called as the fixed installment method. So the formula to compute annual depreciation under the straight line method, so we have annual depreciation is equal to acquisition minus estimated scrap value over estimated life in years. A similar formula, so we have depreciation per year is equal to asset cost minus salvage value all over useful life. So we have an example. So let us suppose that Mr. A bought a transportation truck costing 800,000 pesos. So which has an estimated life of 10 years. The scrap value is 50,000 pesos. So find out the annual depreciation expense. Also, we need to find out the rate of depreciation. So we have the given. So we have acquisition cost. We have 800,000 pesos. Estimated scrap value. So we have 50,000 pesos. And estimated life in years, we have 10 years. So we have the solution. So annual depreciation, as we can recall the formula, so we have annual depreciation is equal to acquisition minus estimated scrap value all over estimated life in years. So we have now 800,000 peso, or 800,000 minus 50,000 all over 10. So we have 75,000 pesos. So we have the rate of depreciation. So we have the formula. Annual depreciation amount all over acquisition cost times 100. So we have 75,000 all over 800,000 times 100. So we have.
Let's illustrate how depreciation and depletions work in practice. The specific methods and calculation used will vary depending on the type of asset and the company's accounting policies.
So this is the given example for the units of production depreciation. So this is the sample problem. ABC Limited Liability Company purchased a machine worth 1,200,000, whose salvage value is 300,000. The machine can produce 100 units of a product per hour. If the whole useful life of machine is 40,000 hours, calculate the depreciation for that annual year in which it was used for 4,000 hours.
Now for the formula to be used, we have depreciation is equal to number of units produced all over life of assets in units times asset cost versus salvage value. Now for our solution. Number 1, we do have the formula wherein number of units produced is equal to number of hours of usage times units produced per hour. Now we do have a given of 4,000 for the number of hours of usage, and units produced per hour is 100. So we need to multiply these two, and we have for the number of units produced is equal to 400,000. Now, for the next step, we do have to solve for the life of assets in units, wherein we do have a formula of total life in hours times the units produced per hour. Since we do have a 400,000 for the number of hours produced and 100 for units produced per hour, we need to multiply the two and we will have a result of 4 million life of assets in units. Now for the depreciation expense, we do have the formula of a number of units produced all over the life of assets in units times the asset cost minus the salvage value. Now we do have this if we substitute all the values we have, since we've solved for each of the values that we needed. Now we do have 400 divided by 4 million times 1,200,000 minus 300,000. And the depreciation expense is equal to 90,000 pesos. And that would be all for our solution, and we will give the floor to the next discussant. Thank you.
For sample problem, a self-manufacturing company purchased a machine on April 1, 2015 for 500,000 pesos, which has an estimated useful life for 5 years. If its estimated scrap value is 100,000 pesos, determine the rate of depreciation and annual depreciation for each year using the written down value method. Using the formula, rate of depreciation is equal to the quantity of 1 minus nth root of S over C multiplied to 100.
So, the solution of the given problem is rate of depreciation is equals to 1 minus 100,000 all over 500,000 exponent of 5 times 100. Using a calculator, the rate of depreciation is equals to 1 minus 0.72477966368 times 100. So the total of rate depreciation is equals to 27.5%. So let's find out the depreciation value for each year with the help of simple accounting method. And the formula is annual depreciation is equals to book value of asset times rate of depreciation all over 100. For the year 1, annual depreciation is equals to 500,000 multiplied to 27.5% divided by 100 is equals to 137,500. In the year 2, book value is equals to 500,000 minus 137,500 is equals to 362,500. And for the annual depreciation is equals to 362,500 multiplied to 27.5% divided by 100 is equals to 99,687.50. And for the year 3, book value is equals to 362,500 minus 99,687.50 is equals to 262,812.50. And for the year 3, annual depreciation is equals to 262,812.50 multiplied to 27.5% divided by 100. The annual depreciation of the year 3 is equivalent to 72,273.54.
For the year 4, the book value is equals to 262,812.50 minus 72,273.44. And the total value of book value is 190,539.06. So the annual depreciation is equals to 190,539.06 times 27.5 all over 100. So that would be 52,398.24. So for the year 5, book value is equals to 190,539.06 minus 52,398.24, and that would be 138,140.76. So the annual depreciation is 138,140.76 times 27.5 all over 100, and that would be 37,988.71.
And the last method used in depreciation was the annuity method. So this method of depreciation is based on the concept of opportunity cost. So I can say that here the depreciation is computed in regards with the interest, which the amount used to purchase the asset, or it would have been generated if it was invested somewhere else. So we have here a sample problem. I'll read XYZ Limited, or the company, purchases a machine worth 700,000 pesos, which has an estimated life of 7 years. If this sum were invested somewhere else, it would have earned the firm interest of 10% per machine. So we are going to calculate the annuity depreciation using the annuity method. So the given is C is the acquisition cost, which is equal to 700,000 pesos, while the I going to be the interest rate. So it should be in decimal. So RI is equal to 10% or 0.1. And last given were N is the estimated life in years, which our N is equal to 7 years. Moving on, our solution that we're going to use was the formula of annuity depreciation. So it is equal to C multiplied to I, quantity 1 plus I to the power of N, all over quantity 1 plus I to the power of N minus 1. So let's substitute our given, which the C is equal to 700,000 times to the I, which is the 0.1, times to the quantity 1 plus 0.1 to the power of N, which is equal to 7 years, all over quantity 1 plus 0.1 to the power of 7 minus 1. So to calculate the above, or our numerator is equal to 136,410.20, all over the denominator is equal to 0.9487. And overall, the annuity depreciation is equal to 143,784.44 in 2 decimal places. So our conclusion, therefore, the annuity depreciation of XYZ Limited, or the company, is worth 142,786.44. Sample problems. By the way, our sources that we use is from amortization versus depreciation, entitled "What's the Difference?", retrieved from investopedia.com. The next one is from the depreciation calculator, STA8. And the third one was from the depreciation method, retrieved from packaccountants.com, where we get our explanation, formula, and our examples. Lastly, from the calculate depletion expense, retrieved from Accounting Inside, that we also get our formulas and examples. Thank you everyone for listening to our presentation, and I hope you will remember all of the tackled lesson about depreciation and depletion.